Let's get it out and see what we need to talk about. So, did anybody have a question about the first page of stuff? Section 3.1, the problems I assigned in 3.1. Okay, we should all have our homework out. And you might as well get the note sheet out too, because that's what's coming next. Okay. Anybody have a question about Bryce? Did you do the homework, Bryce? Did you do the homework?
Yes.
You did? Okay, let's look at number 11. Okay, problem number 11. Now what's different, a little bit different about problem number 11 is, yesterday in our example problems, this is the kind where you're writing an exponential function. Yesterday in our example problems, I only gave you 2 points. This time, they gave you a whole table of values. They gave you the point -2, 6. They gave you the point -1, 3, 0, 3/2, 1, 3/4, and 2, 3/8. So they gave us this entire list of points, Bryce. But how many do we need out of that whole list? We really only need 2. So it doesn't matter which 2 you use. But yesterday I told you, always, always, always use this one, right? So I'm for sure going to use that point. And then I can use whatever other point I want to use. So pick one more, Bryce. -1 and 3, that's the one you want to use. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly what we did yesterday. We're going to ignore all this extra information, and we're just going to use those 2 points. So this is the equation we're shooting for. We start with this point. So when I plug it in, it'll say 3/2 equals a times b to the 0.
Do you have to use the one with the 0 first?
Yes. Because that, well, I shouldn't say you have to. That's what's going to make your problem easier, a lot easier. Use the one with the 0 first. And the reason it makes it easier, Bryce, is because what's b to the 0? 1. So this just flat out tells me that 3/2 is a. So I know my equation is y equals 3/2 b to the x, because I know a is 3/2. Then I can come back and use the other point you picked. Put it in here, so 3 equals 3/2 b to the -1st. X and y.
Yeah, I got that.
So now I got to get rid of this guy.
Multiply by
2/3. Actually, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Times by 2, divide by 3. So we multiply by 2/3. That's gone. And what's this?
6 over 3.
6 over 3, which reduces to what?
2.
Now, oh no, what does that mean? No. What does a negative exponent mean? 1 over. We got to flip it. So this becomes 1 over b. B to the -1st means 1 over b. Now, if I think of the 2 as 2 over 1, I can cross multiply.
So it'd be
2b equals 1, so b equals 1/2. Divide by 2. Then I can go back to my equation. And I have y equals 3/2 times 1/2 to the x. Because b was 1/2. Yeah.
You can do like the second part differently, can you? Because I just, on the F, like on the chart, the F next, it was like 6 3s, 3/2, 3/4, 3/8. I just saw a pattern of one.
Okay, so you just kind of eyeballed all those points they gave you and said, I must be multiplying by powers of 1/2. That's fine.
And I got
Be
on the
careful.
second one too.
That's fine, because they give you enough points, you can see that pattern. On your quiz, it's going to be, I'll just give you 2 points.
Okay.
So it's good. If you have enough points and you can see what's going on, that's absolutely fine. But make sure you know how to do the work too, because if I only give you 2 points, you really can't see that. Good point though. Who else? Anybody else on this page? Okay, we're going to the second page then. Any question on the second page of problems, which was section 3.2. And only did a few problems on this page. Anybody have a question about one of the problems on this page?
I did 5.
All right, then let's get our packet out. We'll be having a quiz shortly, not today, but tomorrow or the next day, we'll be having a quiz over this stuff. So let's get our packets out. I believe we were working in section number 3 on the back of page 24. How far did you get yesterday? Okay, so D.
I know it just started.
Okay, so we're ready to do D. Okay, everybody's got a note sheet out. Everybody is on the back of page 24. This is problem 3. I'm starting with D because that's where we left off yesterday. Jared, where's your table?
On it is?
They just don't like you. They just don't like you.
Top and top retreat.
Where's Ethan?
Retreat.
He's on retreat.
I have the list of your videos.
Okay, here we go, gang. Here we go. Okay, it's time to pay attention now, Katie Buckgardner. Fractional exponents. Jabron. Fractional exponents mean what?
The bottom denominator is the root.
It's a root. They're radicals. This tells me I'm going to have a radical. And the radical I'm going to have, the denominator indicates that. So this is going to be a 4th root problem. This is a 4th root problem cubed. In a fractional exponent, the denominator tells me which root I'm taking. The numerator tells me which power I'm going to raise it to. So this says the 4th root of 16 cubed. Now, you're supposed to know without a calculator what the 4th root of 16 is. 2. 2 cubed is 8. There's the answer to the problem. So Jordan, when I move to the next problem, I do exactly the same thing, right? The fraction tells me there's a radical. What does that 3 tell me? This is going to be a cube root. The 3 tells me which root, and then I'm going to raise it to the 4th power. So what's the cube root of 8, Jordan? And 2 to the 4th? 2 times 2 is, times another 2, times one more 2. So the answer is 16.
It's not the answer.
16 to the 3 halves. It's going to be a radical. And which root is it? Square root. Cube. What's the square root of 16? 4. And 4 cubed is?
16 times 4.
64. 16 times 4, which is 64. Yep. One more, or 2 more, I guess. Jared, when I see this fractional exponent, it means radical. So this is going to be a radical. What's going to go here? Yep, square root, 2. And it's going to be cubed. So, what's the square root of 9? 3. Cubed? 27. The square root of 9 is? Gibran? I am going to move you. I want you, Gibran, to pick up your things, and I want you to come back and sit in Veronica's seat since she's not here today.
The next one's going to be 5.
Katie's already done the next one. She says this is going to be the square root of 25 to the first. The square root of 25 is 5, and 5 to the first is 5. Now, does anybody have a question about those radical problems? Okay, so if we were to have a quiz, and there were fractional exponents on it, everybody is a winner. All right, let's look at part 4. Now we are going to practice our negative exponents. Now we already talked about what negative exponents mean. They mean you flip. So let's see what happens with these guys. Look at the first one. 4 to the negative second. You got to make it a fraction. So instead of 4 over 1, you're going to make it 1 over 4. Squared. So what's the answer? 1/16. The next one is 5 to the negative first. What are you going to do with 5 to the negative first?
Make it 1 over 5.
1 over 5 to the first, which is just 1/5. Now this next one, a little bit tricky. Let's not do anything with that 2 just yet. Let's focus right here. What does this mean?
1 over 9.
1 over 3 squared, or 1 over 9? Now what do we need to do with that 1 over 9 though? We need to times it by 2. Now notice we didn't change the 2 because he doesn't have the negative exponent, right? So we only changed the 3. Now we're going to multiply 2 over 1 times 1 over 9, and what are we going to get?
2 over 9.
Mm-hmm. Very good, Gibran.
That was Bryce.
No, it was Gibran.
Sorry about that. I thought it came from
No, it's good. I was
Okay.
thinking that.
Were ya? Okay.
Yes, I'm unstoppable. No matter where you move me, I will conquer.
All right, here we go. Now, this one is a little bit different because look at what I'm starting with. I'm starting with 1/4. But it has a negative exponent, so what's going to happen to that 1/4?
It's going to flip to 4
It's
over
going to
1.
become 4 over 1.
Just square that,
to
you
the-
get 16 over 1, which is just
Exactly.
16. Bam,
There
bada
you
bing,
go.
Jabron's going to pass his class.
All right, so let's go back and talk about this one more time. Remember, a negative exponent flips you. We are already starting as a 1/4. So when I flip that, it becomes 4 over 1 or just 4. Don't let the 1 confuse you. If you'd rather write it as plain 4, that's fine. 4 squared is 16. The negative exponent flips whatever you have. So look at this one. What is that negative exponent going to do? It's going to make it 3/2. Now, you still have to cube it. Don't forget that part. All you've done when you flip it is handle the negative. Now you still have to raise to the 3rd power. And we talked about yesterday, when we raise a fraction to a power, we take the top to the power and the bottom to the power. Now, Mrs. Ford is old, so I can do that in my head. If you can, over to the side, you write 3 times 3 times 3. And then 2 times 2 times 2. That's how we get those numbers. Okay. Look at a couple more of these. All right, here we go. Now, just like before, forget this guy for a second and focus all your energy right here. He's the one that has the negative exponent, right? Kaylin? This is the guy that has the negative exponent. So I'm going to rewrite him as 1 over 5.
Gotta flip it.
So instead of 5 over 1, instead of 5 over 1, he's 1 over 5. Times the 1/2 that was out in front.
1 over 10.
1 over 10 is your answer. Now check this one out. Get this 1/2 for a second. What's going on here?
Flip.
When it flips, it just becomes 5. Everybody see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Times 1/2,
Which is 2.5.
which is 2.5 or 5 over 2, whichever way you want to write that. And then I squeeze this one in here, 3 to the negative 4th. 1 over 3 to the 4th. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Anybody have a question about one in that section? That's section 4. Now in section 5, I've put it all together. Now we have negatives and fractions.
Oh, bless you.
Okay, peeps. Now we have negatives and fractions. So we start by taking care of the negative exponent. So this is not going to be an 8th. This is going to get flipped, so it's going to become a 1/8. Now tell me about what 8 to the 2/3 means. That is a scary looking thing, but it's easy. What does 8 to the 2/3 mean? It means a radical. And what's the root here?
3.
3, and I'm squaring it, right? What's the cube root of 8?
2.
Squared. How many of you said the answer to that was 1/4? Very good if you said that was 1/4.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Let's try this one. Will?
Just a question, like, if I did like 2, and then like radical 4, and then I put the negative 3 over there, like, and did it that way, is that one okay?
What do you mean?
Yes, Susan, you
Like,
made
I
that on
just
my highlight.
put like the radical, like, and then put 2, like, we just do it how we had it. I got like 1 C.
She's been crappy.
Never mind. I don't understand.
No, I know, I can tell today.
Okay. Now, let's look at the next one. First things first, take care of the negative. So that's going to become 1 over 4 to the 3/2. Guys, negative exponents mean 1 over. Flip it.
Flip it, flip it.
Now, what does 4 to the 3/2 mean?
That means you take the square root of 4, then cube the answer.
Exactly. And the square root of 4 is
2. If you cube it, you get 8.
8. So if you said the answer to that problem was 1/8, you were right.
All of them.
So do you use the exponent first, or do you square it first?
You root it first. Yeah. Now, actually, Maya, it doesn't make any difference, but since we're going to do this without a calculator, it's easier to root first, take the square root of the smaller number, because what would happen here is if you cubed, you'd get 64, and the square root of 64 is 8, so it still works out. But if this had been a bigger exponent, like to the 5th or something, then that would make it really hard. A lot of them would take here. Okay. What am I ready for? Now, I really need you guys to be attentive when you do this because there's a lot going on here. And you're tempted sometimes to flip and do stuff that you're not supposed to do. First, what does this negative mean? It means it flips. So this would become 9 to the 1/2. Notice that this is what flips. The fraction doesn't, or the exponent doesn't flip. This is what flips.
3.
What does this mean?
3.
Well, it means the square root of 9, which is 3. Oh my gosh. Tonight at dinner, pop this out for your parents. They will be so impressed that you can do this without a calculator.
They will. My mom's probably going to twerk at his well.
All right. Step 1. Deal with the negative. Deal with the negative. What does this negative tell me? The fraction is going to flip over.
Just turn it out. Just flip it.
Now, what does that exponent mean?
You got to put it with the 8, don't you?
You got to put it with everything.
Oh, okay.
And what does it mean?
It
It's a
means
radical.
You take the cube root.
I'm going to take the cube root of this fraction.
Why is it with one, like, you see that 8 and it's negative 2/3? Why with that one do you only do the 2/3 of 8?
No, you actually do it here too. But
But
here's the
it's
thing,
still-
Jabron. 1 raised to any power is just 1.
I
So we
got
don't need to worry about it with the 1. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
It actually is with both of them, and since it's 1,
All right.
great question. Okay, what's the cube root of 27/8? Taylor Holder. I am tired of you talking about stuff that's not math.
And it isn't just a bar.
So, Taylor, what's the cube root of 27/8? 3/2. We have to take the cube root of the top and the cube root of the bottom. So this very ugly problem worked out to be 3/2.
Wait, we're not allowed to use a calculator on this one?
Not for this stuff.
Even if it's like divided by 27 divided by 8?
But see, you don't have to do 27 divided by 8. You're taking the cube root of 27, which is 3, and the cube root of 8, which is 2. There's no division here, okay? I'll make sure, Julia, that the numbers are manageable, okay? I mean, you're not gonna have to do some hideous arithmetic. Okay, next.
Where are we now?
Okay, let's take a look at this. Shh, way too much chatter. Not enough math going on here.
I got this.
Step 1. No,
Flip it.
I want Olivia Willis to tell me what step 1 is.
So you're gonna make it 1 over 27.
You are going to make it 1 over 27 to the
And
2/3.
then you're gonna take the cube root of 27, so you're gonna get 1 over 3, and then you're gonna square 3, and you're gonna get 1 over 2.
You are exactly right.
Oh, you
So
think
she
you're
led
smart,
us
huh?
through that perfectly. So, Suzanne,
I actually picked a bronze.
you know what?
I had
No. I don't want to see the back of your head again. Okay? Because when I see the back of your head, it means you're looking at Abby and you need to be looking at me.
Okay.
Okay? I know she's cuter, but. All right, here we go. We got 1 over 27 to the 2/3.
I think Maya had a question.
I can speak on okay? I just don't get how she, I don't get how, oh, it's 1/9. Okay, never mind. It was negative.
Okay, so we started by doing 1 over because of the negative. Then we said, ooh, a fractional exponent, that means a radical. This fraction means the cube root of 27 squared. So Olivia said the cube root of 27 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. Now remember, because of the flip, that's 1 over 9. It isn't just 9, it's 1 over 9 because of the flip you did in the beginning. Okay?
Okay.
Next.
I can knock this out with my eyes closed.
Okay, but I don't want you to, I want Kaylin to.
1 over 6.
So you're gonna start with 1 over 16 to the 3/4. That's exactly right, because we take care of the negative first, if we have one. Then what?
Then it's the radical and the 3, and then to the 4th power.
Actually, you
Or
got
four.
it kind of backwards. Yes, it's a radical, and the root you take, the root here, is the denominator. So the 4 through to 16 is 2.
And then, so it'd be 1 over 16.
Be careful, what's 2 cubed?
Or 1 over 8.
1 over 8, yep, you're exactly right. 1 over 2 cubed, and 2 cubed is 8. Maya, did you get that one, my Brownell?
I don't know what you're doing. I'm trying.
That's fair, okay. Okay, step 1. If you have a negative, Maya, a negative exponent, so this is if you have a negative exponent, you're going to flip the 16. So instead of having 16 over 1, I'm going to have 1 over 16. As soon as the flip happens, the exponent stays the same, but it becomes positive now. Because the flip took care of the negative. Okay? Then you have a fractional exponent. Fractional exponents mean radicals. So I would say here, this would be 1 over, I'm going to have a radical with 16 in it. The exponent itself tells me that the root I'm taking is 4, and I'm taking it to the 3rd power.
So how do you know that the root is 4 and it's always the
Always the denominator is the root. So I learned that. I learned that. Then I start doing the math. So the 4 through to 16 is 2. And you need to know that. You need to know that 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. So the 4 through to 16 is 2. And then you cube that, and that's how we got 8. Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. What, Katie?
Oh, I said I'll do the next one.
Okay, so now, Maya, we're moving on to the next one. Katie's going to walk us through it. What do we do first, Katie?
You're gonna turn it into 4 square root 16. Oh, well, you're going to flip it.
First, I'm going to flip it, and since it's already 1/16, it's going to become 16 to the 1/4 power. Because when you flip it, the power becomes positive. Now this means
That is going to go
it's going to be a radical, and it's going to be a 4th root to the 1st power, which equals 2. So the answer to that problem is just 2. Okay, wait, we've got 3 more of these. Some of you probably have already gotten these done because you've been working ahead. But would all of you on at your tables there give these a shot and tell me what you come up with as answers?
Ours doesn't have 100.
Are we starting with that 9?
Oh, yeah,
negative
so then
3, 2?
This
oh,
is
wait, never mind,
H,
never mind.
I, and J.
Okay, got it.
So come on, everybody's doing H, I, and J. You guys already have them done?
Because you just typed it, remember you just did it.
Did Mom make you chatty?
I know.
Oh, I have a different problem, that's why I was confused. Yeah.
You guys got number 1 done?
Yeah. It's made 27. I got the same thing as you. I mean, it has to do that. It's just
27 over 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, that's what I got.
1,000 over 27.
1,000.
I'm gonna send that to my McLaurin's mom because it's so cool. You get up and go over and help your
Which is scary.
No, but you're gonna get to it. Okay. Here we go. Let's look at the first one. What did you do first? I hope you said 1 over 9 to the 3/2. Because the negative exponent tells you it's going to be a 1 over, it's going to be a flip. Then I hope you said, ooh, a fractional exponent. That means a radical, the square root of 9 cubed. How many of you said 1 over 27? Did every table get 1 over 27?
Yes.
Good. Next.
Who got that?
Flip it. 1 over 100 to the 1/2. What does 100 to the 1/2 mean? The square root of 100, which is 1/10. Did everybody get 1/10?
Yeah.
And then, wow, big scary problem. What does the negative do?
100 over 9.
Flip, so it's going to make it 100 over 9, still to the 3/2 power. That means a radical. So I have 100/9 under a radical. What root am I taking?
2.
The square root, and I am cubing. So the square root of 100 is 10. The square root of 9 is 3, and I have to cube that.
So 1,000 over
1,000 over 27 is the correct answer. 1,000 over 27. Now, you do not need a calculator for that. There is no big arithmetic in that. You can handle that without a calculator. Right? Okay. Now, the next thing, we need to look at a couple more. We, I think, are going to have a quiz tomorrow over these exponent things. Maybe I'll just give you 4 or 5 of these exponent problems and have you simplify them. Now I need you to open up to page 296 in your textbook. That's 296.
This is our homework.
There's some stuff like this in your homework, yeah.
You have to push it a little bit. Just take it out.